All right, welcome to another episode of Warrior versus Zombie. And as always, I'm excited and very happy to introduce a new Warrior guest to you, Toni Harris Taylor, and I will get back to her in a second. But let me tell you or remind you why you're here. Success is a journey, it's not a destination. As warriors, we all have a history of ups and downs, wins and losses that are all part of making us who we are up to this point, and they provide a foundation for our path forward. We all battle our inner zombie as well as those zombies in our world, and in each episode, I interview warriors who are aspiring leaders from all walks of life. Entrepreneurs, artists, health practitioners, business owners, literally any inspired leader that has a story to tell. These warriors have a cause, they have unique value, and a vision that goes generations into the future, and today's guest is no exception. Toni Harris Taylor is an amazing warrior and known as the networking queen and coach that connects. We'll get to hear a little more about that. She's a wife, a mother, a grandmother, entrepreneur, speaker, coach, and TV talk show host. Her 25-year warrior journey includes sales training, financial planning, marketing, and networking. Toni has overcome many zombies, including being a two-time widow, sorry to hear that, and coming back from a near-death experience after 10 days in a coma. Her company, Drastic Results Marketing and Sales Coaching, helps entrepreneurs to get known, get connected, and get paid. Important part of that. She purchased her first Network and Action franchise in 2019 and now has 7 franchise units, including 2 in Canada. As a franchisee, she was awarded 2019 Rookie of the Year and 2021 Brand Ambassador. Today, she helps business owners grow through networking, education, community, and business development. She co-hosts a franchising show with Jennifer Callendar, where they interview experts in the franchise space. And Toni's vision is to touch, move, and inspire people. I love the inspire, that's what I'm all about, to be greater than they were before she met them, leaving a legacy of entrepreneurs who act and are always drastic. And I'm going to get into that. Toni, welcome to Warrior versus Zombie. First of all, where are you?
Thank you so much, David. And my first question is, may I borrow this introduction because it's perfect.
Well, good. I'm glad that I
You,
wrote it down.
you nailed it,
I
man.
read
I
all
am
your stuff, and I looked at your LinkedIn profile, and I tried to, even though we haven't known each other very long, I try to get the essence of who I'm talking to from whatever you've chosen to put out there. And if I get it wrong, the good news is after we take a quick break, you'll get to correct anything that I've got on your story or what you're doing. But anyway, thank you. I appreciate
thank
I appreciate the feedback. So where exactly are you located for our audience?
Houston, Texas.
Okay, so Texas, you're in the greatest state on the planet. No, I didn't wasn't born here, but I got here as fast as I could. I'm in Dallas, so we're a little ways away, but it's a, as I say, it's a free state, and we're having fun. So, and we're gonna
Yes.
have fun today. So, what else is going on in your world as we just kind of regular stuff? Anything exciting or unusual going on as I
I
ask?
do have two very exciting things going on right now. Tomorrow, I'm launching my 8th book, which is a
Oh.
collaboration book between my Network and Action members and Drastic Results coaching clients. It's called Viral Networking for Drastic Results. So that's launching tomorrow at 5:30. If you're listening now, you can join us. And yeah, the link's not that easy to recite right now, but you can also reach out to me, which I'll give you my contact
Well,
information.
the good news is when we're done with this, and I didn't realize that, so that's good. I'm glad I asked. But when we're done, I'll if that link is if you send me that link, I'll put it in the show notes so people can go to our hosting site or go to the YouTube channel or the various places this will be posted on all the audio platforms. If they look at the show notes, that I'll make sure that link is there. So make sure you get
Awesome.
that to me.
I will
So
get that to you. And the second thing is my upcoming conference by the similar title, Viral Networking the Viral Networking Conference, which is November 2nd through 4th. So those are the two main things I'm working on.
Well, and that's exciting. And we'll talk about a little bit of those and other things that you're doing when we get into the third segment, but that's great. So, well, you look great, you sound great, and I'm looking forward to getting into the meat of things and talk a little bit about your story. So let's take a quick break, and then we'll be right back and we'll hear your story with Toni Harris Taylor and Warrior versus Zombie. All right, for those in the audio audience, you got to hear a little bit of Ricky Jean Wright and our theme song, It's Not the Getting There Again. But Toni, so as I said before we took a break, tell me, how did you get from where you started to where you are today? Tell us a little bit about your story.
So in a word, how did I get from where I was to where I am today? In a word, networking.
Okay.
And that is who I am today. I am the networking queen. I am the coach that connects because I learned through my own experiences the power of networking and how networking can drastically change your business and, of course, by extension, your life. So I'm the founder and CEO of Drastic Results, marketing and sales coaching. You did such a great job with the bio, but specifically, I help entrepreneurs get known, get connected so they can get paid to make six figures and beyond. Statistics says 94% of entrepreneurs never cross six figures.
Let me ask you this, and we'll get more into that.
Yeah.
That's kind of the foundational place as to, as we say, that the ups and downs, wins and losses, they get us to this place. They also provide that foundation. So I heard that and I saw that in your introduction. I want to go back a little bit on this journey and kind of hear a little bit of your story in terms of how you got from where you started to where you are today. So, I mean, you mentioned some zombies and as we call them zombies, basically it's a metaphor, but it's things that we've overcome in our lives that can be things that either keep us going forward so our history becomes our destiny, or warriors more likely than not are pushing through. So we kind of blow past those. But one of the things is we've got people listening to our podcast and listening to our discussion right now, and maybe joining us on seeing the replay, and they're really wondering, okay, so did she just arrive at this? Is this, networking? I run a networking group. I've got hundreds of thousands of connections and relationships developing and building community. So you and I are very aligned in that space. I totally get that. But what I really want to hear is some of these, some of your journey. You've got
Sure.
You're a mother, a grandmother.
Sure.
You've powered through and moved forward through a lot of zombies in your life. So tell us a little bit about some of the things that you've got overcome to get to where you are today.
So I'm 30-year entrepreneur. My mother, when I was 24, 30 plus years. When I was 24, my mother called me. I was working at Exxon and she said, quit your job and come work for me. And she's
Oh.
a 40 plus year entrepreneur herself. And I was like, no, I saw you struggle and I don't think so. And she said, Toni, what's the worst that could happen? You could always go back to that job. And so I believed her, I trusted her, and I quit my job and started my entrepreneurial journey. As you know, it goes up and down. So at that time, I was a computer trainer.
Okay.
You will appreciate this. Some millennials, younger people do not, but I trained the transition from Lotus 123 over to Excel.
Yes, I do remember Lotus 123. And
Exactly.
yeah,
So I trained that, and then Word Perfect to Word, and so it was all computer training. And in that, one of the clients that I got was a financial company.
Hmm.
And I was actually teaching financial advisors how to use laptops. They'd never seen this beast before. And I literally traveled around the country teaching them to turn it on, how to use a little mouse pad, back then we had to change the battery. And so they said, "Oh my gosh, with your personality, you should do what we do." What do you do? We invest people's money for retirement. I don't do money. I do computers. They said, "Oh, but you'll make six figures in 2 years." And I was like, "Really?" Well, I had a high school diploma. I was not interested in college at that point.
Hmm.
And so they said, "But the only catch is you got to move from Texas to Florida." So I did. I believed them, moved from Texas to Florida, started my journey as a financial advisor. 10 days in, I get a call from another advisor that says, "Stay out of my territory." Well, it turns out that I was sold on an opportunity that didn't exist for me. And so I had to figure out how to make this work because I had uprooted my kids, my husband, and moved them to Florida. I had no money experience, no sales experience, no investment experience, and I had just moved my family. This
Mm.
was in June of 2000, David. So I don't know if you even remember what the market was like, but that's when the
I
dot-com
very
bubble
much do.
burst.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Enron, September 11th. So for 3 years straight, the market was falling, and I had never paid attention to the 90s when it soared. So I was going by theory, but it was my ability to network and my and not network in the way we think, because at that point I wasn't doing entrepreneurial networking. I
Right.
was going into state agencies and nonprofit agencies where they make no money and trying to convince them to put $25 a week away. And so it was the relationships that I built with the office managers that let me open the doors for me. And that particular year, talk about drastic, I drove over 36,000 miles
Hmm.
over 5 counties in Florida to make it happen. So that was a zombie because it was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't have the experience, and I'm driving a lot. And so, but long story short, I made it work, was award-winning financial advisor. Then they tapped me on the shoulder to go into management to manage my peers who
Hmm.
just watched me come up through the ranks. And in that role, I had to start networking publicly. So
Right.
I started going to networking events, and I'd pass out business cards, and I would um, come back to my office and I'd wait for the phone to ring. Hmm,
Hmm.
phone didn't ring. Hmm. So I go and do it again. Listen, I'm having a good time while I'm there, and I'm meeting great people, and they say they want to connect with me or they want to do business with me. And I get back to my office and the phone didn't ring.
Ring. Yeah.
Yeah. So I one time, third time, did it again, and I meet this lady who's a business coach, very much like I am today. But at that point, I was a assistant manager for financial. She said, "You're not networking right. What else do I need to do, lady?" I put my face on, I put my eyelashes on, I pick out the right wig, I dress the part. What else do I need to do? She says, "Pay me $6,000 for my 90-day program, and I'll tell you." I said, "Er?" That was in 2005, David. So that was before big coaching was happening.
Oh, right.
So I pulled my money out of my retirement plan, paid that lady $6,000, and she taught me what I'm going to talk to your people about today.
Hmm.
And so I learned the strategies from her, and it was life changing. It was life changing. And now I have the privilege of teaching my clients those same strategies, because what I figured out, and you already know, nobody's going to call you. I
Right.
don't care how many events you go to, how many chats you put your information in, nobody's calling you. So you have to take the bull by the horns. So that's a little bit of my journey of how I got. And that
Well,
takes you up to 2005.
okay, so we're at 2005, and and by the way, when we get, I think I mentioned this, but when we get to where we're really into your networking and some of the things you mentioned in the first segment, we'll take another break. But I do want to kind of stay, because you mentioned some things here that I think can be, very debilitating zombies, because you mentioned that you are a two-time widower, and your near-death experience and that kind of thing, which is not fascinating in a good way for me, but it's a thing that I think, I guarantee you that there's people listening to this, that those particular zombies have maybe derailed them, or they've convinced themselves that because of these things they can't move forward. And what can you share about that, or what are you willing to share about that in terms of that part of your story?
So my brand is all about being drastic.
Right.
And the reason it is because it's who I am.
Okay.
And it's what I teach people to be, whether it's life or business. Listen, nobody's life is perfect. Nobody. And we had that whole conversation, right? We can choose to be great, or we can choose to wallow in our situation. The two-time widow situation is, yeah, and there's backstory we don't have time for here.
Sure.
But what I realized is I could sit in it and it ain't gonna change. It's still gonna be gone.
Yeah.
Or I could figure out how to put one foot in front of the other every day until I had moved through it.
Beautiful.
And it's drastic to do that. Absolutely drastic. When my second husband passed, and I like to say I am a Black widow, not the Black widow. So let's be clear, it ain't me.
It wasn't you. Okay.
It wasn't me. It wasn't
I,
me.
I love your sense of humor and your positive outlook on it. So yeah, I'm with you. Okay.
Well,
So
when he died November 2012, so let's back up a little bit. In
Mhm.
2008, I lost my good paying job, because of the financial debacle. I was working
Remember
for an
to yeah.
AIG company, and remember
Yeah.
that whole.
Hmm.
So I lost my good paying six-figure job with a high school diploma. And so I decided to enroll in college. So I started my college career at 43 years old.
Hmm.
And I met my second husband, who, while we were dating, found out he had stage 4 colon cancer.
Oh wow.
And so I married him, and I was doing homework by his bedside. But he said to me, "You should get your master's." I'm like, dude, I didn't even want to get the bachelor's. There's no way I'm going to get the master's.
Hmm.
And I finished my schooling. I gave the commencement speech. There's 5.6 million views on Facebook with my commencement speech. And he died 6 weeks later. And, I decided to, instead of being a zombie, I decided to be a warrior, and I enrolled in the master's program. So he died in November. I started my master's in January, and he was the inspiration for that.
Wow. That's inspiring. That's taking a very challenging time and making it the impetus for moving forward, which again I love, and it's obviously something that a true warrior does. But I appreciate you sharing
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Anything else in your story before we take a break and talk about kind of what you're doing today? I want to give us time for that. Make sure that we done that. You've hit on some of those things.
Well, my biggest zombie You would think the coma and the coma, I woke up with a stomach ache. There's a whole story behind that,
Right.
but I ended up in a 10-day coma with
Wow.
sepsis. And when I came out of it, I was on a feeding tube and didn't know. That was a tough time, didn't know. And I'm going to tell you what got me through that time, besides my network, which was amazing.
Right.
um, Singing and dancing. Singing and dancing, finding those uplifting songs that truly spoke to my spirit. And I had them on repeat.
Amen.
And that's how I was able to push through a very trying time. And it's over. That seems simple. It seems super simple, but you cannot be sad or upset or mad or unhappy when you're singing songs that touch your spirit.
Amen. Yeah, I'm with you there. It's part of my daily routine is hearing good music and praising
Yeah.
and sowing those seeds. So that's a beautiful thing. Well, I
But I'll tell you my biggest zombie after we come back.
all right. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back. You can tell us our big zombie, and then we'll get into what you're doing today. So let's take another quick break. We'll hear a little more of Ricky Jean Wright, and it's not the getting there. Our theme song, and we'll be right back with Toni Harris Taylor and Warrior versus Zombie. All right, Toni, it's been awesome already. I'm excited to hear about your biggest zombie, and then I want to get into why you're doing what you're doing, the value you see, unique value, which I can already see a lot of that just in your story that you provide, and then if anything were possible, what kind of impact are you hoping to have? So share that with us.
So I can answer all those questions in this story.
Okay.
So let's go. In
Okay.
2019, I was this close to closing Drastic results. It wasn't because I wasn't making money. I was making six figures, helping people to take their drastic steps, and they were getting drastic results. But here was the problem. I couldn't figure out how I was going to scale and be able to sell my business if I decide to retire one day. And I was 52, and I was thinking to myself, today I need to get a job to start a retirement plan because I don't know how I'm going to undo drastic results. When you have poured your whole life, money, time, spirit into a business
Mm-hmm.
and you are close to closing, it does something to your psyche and your physical and your mental. So I started looking for a job and I was interviewing. I had a network. So people who knew me were like, "You want a job? Okay, come on and interview here." And I did. And I had two jobs I was a shoe-in for. And this is a true story of network and how God puts things in your path and you
Mm-hmm.
don't even see it. And so while I'm interviewing and lamenting, what am I doing next? Because I don't want a job. Let's be clear. I don't want no 30-year-old snotty kid telling me what to do. Okay. So I did not want a job. So I went to someone I had met in my network in 2017, who's a money mindset coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her what I was dealing with. She said, "Well, Toni, what is your why?" And I told her, and she's like, "You need a new why. You've already accomplished that why, and maybe you're not motivated because you don't have a why that inspires you to want to get up every day.
Amen.
Pretend you don't have a business. Go create a new why." So I said, "Okay, great." So I came back to her a few weeks later and I had created the why. During that time, I thought about Zig Ziglar
Mm-hmm.
and his quote: "You can have everything you want if you help enough people get what they want." Well, I was already a connector of people. My greatest joy is connecting people and watching them play together.
Mm-hmm.
So I told her my why is to touch, move, and inspire my clients to take drastic steps to be better than they were before they met me. I'm a resource, I'm a connector. I want to help people build deeper relationships that are beneficial to their life and business. Toni, that's perfect. Are you doing that? Yes. Are you getting paid to do it? Now, that's a loaded question, David. We do a lot that we don't get paid for. I
Amen.
said, well, yeah, when I speak, when I coach, I get paid for that. She said, what about connecting people? What would you need to do to connect people? I said, I would need to start my own networking group. She said, why don't you? I said, absolutely not. I don't have time to start something from scratch. I've seen too many people run networking groups and not make any money, and it takes a lot of time. I don't know what to charge. I don't know how to run a group. I don't have technology. No, thank you, ma'am. She said, Toni, if that's truly your why, don't worry about the how. It will show up. Girl, please, I am not starting a networking group.
Mm-hmm.
Click. The next week, a lady that I had met 3 months earlier at a women's retreat in Granbury. You live up there, so you know where
Right. I know where
Granbury
Granbury
is,
is. Yeah.
5 hours from Houston, followed up. So I met her in April. The conversation with the coach was in July. 1 week later, 3 months from the time I met this lady, he followed up.
Mm-hmm.
Toni, I haven't forgotten about you. I still think you should be a network in action franchise owner. Jehovah, are you listening? Because I just said no to starting a networking group. She said, I said, how much is that again? I don't have that kind of money. Just meet the franchisor. Just meet him. I met him. Instant connection. Brother from another mother. Everything I said I did not have, he had it. All I had to do was plug and play and give him $40,000.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, I love what you got. In fact, I had opened my email and showed him all the intros that I did for free. I love what you have, sir, but I don't have $40,000. This is where relationships and networking matters and making connections matters. He said, how much do you have? I told him. He said, I'll take it and I'll put you on a handshake, no credit, no interest note, just between me and you.
Hmm.
I said, sir, that is generous. What is it you want? He said, I want to take this brand international. I said, I got you. To date, I have brought 8 new franchise owners to the table. And then he pays me for those referrals.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to get the franchise for a fraction of the sticker price. And now I am his first ever rookie of the year, his brand ambassador. I am the fastest launching group in North America. I have to say that because we just crossed international and they launched in 20 days. No, in 10 days. I did 20 days. And then I'm also the first to launch an international virtual group and the first to launch a virtual group. And when I tell you I'm living my purpose of helping entrepreneurs to grow through relationships, and came at a time when I was this close to quitting my business.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm eternally grateful that so many things happened in that process to set me up for what I'm living my why, my purpose. And I'm making great money doing it during the pandemic. Pandemic hit 6 months later. I was already a virtual networker. So I was able to teach my members how to network, and I was able to cross 6 figures with connecting people.
Doing
Pinch
what you
me.
love, right? Yeah, that's amazing. Wow. Well, that's exciting. I love the vision. I love, the whole leaving a legacy of of entrepreneurs that act and are always drastic and connecting people. You and I are, I can't wait. By the way, for those who are listening to this, Tony's going to be doing a mastermind for us on the 23rd, I believe, of
Mhm,
this month.
mhm.
And so be excited to introduce you to my almost 1900 member Richardson Plano networkers. And
Every one of y'all need to show up.
yeah,
Show up.
so
It can be life-changing when you show up. And we're going to talk about that too, because that is really the key to success.
yeah. So let's do this. We'll take one more quick break, and then and we can talk for. We're gonna. By the way, for those that come back to that mastermind, will be an hour and a half, so we'll have plenty of time. And it's a little hands-on. We'll have Tony will be leading us in the conversation. So I'll just seed that for you to come back to in a couple weeks. It's another show on the Be Connected platform for those that are on the Be Connected world as well. So let's do this. We'll take a break, and then when we come back, Tony, I want to hear if we take away anything, and we could take a lot of stuff away from this podcast already. What do you want us to take away? And then obviously, I want to make sure we know how to stay in touch with you. So let's take a quick break, hear a little of our final segment of Ricky Jean Wright. And it's not the getting there. And we'll be right back with Toni Harris Taylor and Warrior versus Zombie. Wow. So we've got a lot of energy here, Tony. This is great. I love it when those of us that have a few more, a little more story behind us than the others, we can rival any of these millennials with our energy level, right? So we can show them. We can show them. So tell me, if we take away anything from this podcast, what is it that you would like us to take away?
Show up, be up, follow up to blow up.
Show up, be up, follow
Follow
up
up.
to blow up. Cool.
So in my story, remember, I went to a women's retreat. I registered on the last day, drove to Granbury, and the only reason I went is because my brother lives in Crescent, which is right there at
Mm,
Granbury, and my mother wanted to go. I showed up while interviewing for jobs. What if I had said to myself, it's too far, I don't want to go because I don't even know if I'm gonna still be in business next month. But I showed up at a time when I was throwing in the towel.
hmm.
There was 12 women at that retreat. Big things happen in small, intimate spaces.
That's right.
It's another big takeaway. So many people want us to show up, and how many people gonna be there? All the people that's supposed to be there.
That's right.
And so I showed up anyway. Be up. I played full out at that retreat. And it was intimate. So we were sharing personal things and challenges in business. So I shared full out, which was attractive to the lady who introduced me to Network in Action. Follow up. It's never too late to follow up. It took her 3 months to follow up with me. Her timing was God's timing.
That's right.
Because I asked her, I said, why did you wait so long? She said, it didn't feel right. And when I did follow you, I had she said, I felt a huge urging that it was time. A week prior, I had just said no to starting a networking group.
Hmm.
So just when you think God isn't listening, he is listening, and he nudged Helen, call her,
That's
call her. She followed up. It's never too late. You might be following up with someone just in the nick of time.
That's right.
And when you do that, you will blow up. So show up, be up, follow up, and you will blow up. But it takes time. It's a journey. And
Every
people,
day.
yep,
Every day.
people
That's the
have
theme.
immediate gratification from networking, and it doesn't work that way.
The funny thing is when you listen to the theme song, I don't know if you've heard the theme song of this podcast, but when you listen to this, it was written by a songwriter, singer, Ricky Jean Wright, a singer songwriter in my network. And it actually amplifies everything you say. It's not a, it's a journey. It's not the getting there. That's the thing,
Okay.
it's a journey every
It's
day.
a journey.
It's not a race to see how many people know your name. One day you'll realize time was worth more than the gold. It's not the getting there. When you get there, you'll know. That's the chorus. And the thing is, he wrote it based upon what he heard me saying in every networking meeting, was the inspiration for the song. And as you saw, timing is everything, right? When I said I'm going to do a podcast, that was, he had that for the
He
theme song.
he had the theme song
So
ready for
it's,
you. Yeah.
God works in amazing and mysterious
Here,
ways.
yep, yep.
And you're right. Taking the action every day, timing is everything, all those things. Beautiful. Well, let me ask this. And I know you're on the Be Connected platform, and I know that that's growing and developing. And just like Network in Action or any other thing, it's a journey. And but so people can find you, the replay and stuff there. But how else? What's the best way for us to reach out to you after this podcast?
Meet with ToniHarrisTaylor.com. Tony's with an I. Meet with ToniHarrisTaylor.com. My social links are there. My calendar is there. Schedule a one-to-one with me. You know, it often is very disappointing to me how many entrepreneurs don't take action.
Hmm.
All it takes is clicking a link. Click the link. Schedule some time. You don't know who I know, and I know everybody.
Yeah,
So what if I could open the door? What if and it's my passion to hold doors open for people? Why would you not get on my calendar?
that's beautiful. You know what? Again, I can't wait to introduce you to our community, and I will tell you in advance. There's almost 1,900 members. We'll have 20 or so show up probably for the mastermind. We have 30, 40 on a Wednesday, serve maybe 100 a week between the various opportunities. And I will just tell you that if people would just show up, I have one of my leaders in the group, he says, it's just a conversation. Don't just follow up. Just you heard something you like, follow up. So it's so powerful and so simple, but people have such a hard time doing it. So,
Yeah.
well, thank you, Toni. I'm so grateful that you shared with our audience today. I know this will be a blessing, and I know that, and I hope it served you. I've enjoyed the conversation. Been a lot of fun. But so thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you all. And thanks for listening. Schedule an appointment with me. And remember, take a drastic step today for a fantastic tomorrow.
Great. All right. Well, we're going to hear the outro of our theme song that we just talked about, and we'll be back next Thursday with another amazing warrior. And again, thank you, Toni, and we'll be back. Let's hear the final outro of It's Not the Getting There, and we'll be back next week.